Okay, well, g'day again. Okay, what a drama I've had today. As I said, I'm still mucking around with these carbies. That I've got the grey carbie back on it again at the moment. The red, I got it on, it sort of went alright for, a brief 10 minutes. Took it for a drive and then it started mucking up and I had to drive back home with the choke on to keep it running. And I've now actually got it soaking in a tub of vinegar. Obviously there's still corrosion in the channels somewhere that I can't get to. But anyway, that's not the subject of today's video. After I put the grey back on, I put it back on and then there was a couple of dramas with the idle actually, I'll show you. Still having a problem with the idle, like the spring not pulling it back into place, and we haven't got any light, but anyway, I'll grab the lights just here. A bit unprepared. I wasn't actually planning to talk about that. We'll talk about raising this front end shortly. But okay. Yeah, back on to what I was saying. Yeah, an idle with that, the pump linkage on the back of it. Yeah, you can actually see it from here. No, too many things in the way. You can see it anyway where that nut is. There's a linkage there. It goes to it. No, you can see it now. A hook pin that goes up to the accelerator pump. And what had happened is because I had to cut a bigger slot because I placed the butterfly shaft with one out of another carbie that was 8mm instead of 6mm. So yeah, I had to drill out the base and then I had to file out the slot in the link so to fit on there, and I got it just a little bit wrong, and it was actually just a touch higher, like only about 2mm higher than what it should have been. And what was happening was that the hook pin was actually hitting on the base of the carbie, the base of the fuel bowl, and that was giving it a problem getting back to idle. And I tried heavier springs and that sort of worked it, but it was too much strain on the cable and it was hard on your foot anyway. And so anyway, I realised what the issue is and then fortunately I had a spare linkage, so I filed another linkage. Got that to work properly. But anyway, when I took it for a test run, and it was misfiring a little bit, and I was wondering just because it was cold, so I said I took it for a test drive, and then I ran it out of fuel, and because I was only just around the corner, so I walked up home and I grabbed my spare fuel, my chainsaw fuel, actually 2-stroke, and put that in it, and then it wouldn't go. It wouldn't fill the carbie up, and unfortunately that was the last straw for the fuel pump, and it just wouldn't suck the air out of it and wouldn't draw the fuel up. And but anyway, realising that, I actually took the top off the carburetor while I was down the road and realised that there was no fuel in it. But even after I poured the fuel into the bowl, I got it going, but it still wouldn't run enough to drive it. It was just, you just couldn't accelerate it, just start misfiring and carrying on. And I'd already checked and filed the points again. They were starting to close. And so these points have been in this distributor for who knows how long, decades. It's the same. Well, I swapped the distributor over, but it was from another motor that had been sitting in this car for decades out in the paddock. And anyway, so to wind itself down. So I opened them up and cleaned them and got it all, but yeah, it was still missing and carrying on. And yeah, because of that, even though I'd filled the bowl up in the carby, it still wouldn't go, and I had to get it towed home by. That's another lucky thing. One of my neighbours, his place I was out front of, come and towed me out back up home, and yeah, and I went and cleaned the points again, checked spark, and it was actually jumping across the distributor. One of the bolts, this little bolt down here on the side that holds the vacuum and fence on, was poking through about 2-3 mil, and spark was jumping from the back of the points over to that, so I unscrewed that a bit, and yeah, thinking about it, like the points were clean and everything at that stage, and I thought, I wonder if the condenser's gone, so I swapped the condenser from the other old distributor, and away it went. End of problem. Oh, that was after I replaced the fuel pump. This is the original one that was on this motor, and it was leaking. It's probably just a gasket or something. It was leaking out of the top bowl cover. The other one doesn't separate, but this one does anyway. But it was still actually pumping, so I'll put it back on. And yeah, it's not leaking now. Yeah, that was the whole reason I took it off the motor in the first place. But anyway, yeah, I said I got that working, and it's all running good again now. Fortunately, the condenser was just came already attached to the wire, so yeah, I've had to, you can even see that down there, but see, you still got the wire. You can't get in there to see it, but anyway, the original condenser wire is still hanging down. Yeah, just by it, see the green wire? It's just hanging down there in space. So, yeah, well, it stays where it is. There's no need to tape it off or anything. So it's not touching anything. It's a ½ inch away. It's not going to jump. So. But anyway, as I said, we got it all running again, and I've now got the other red motor carby soaking in vinegar, and then leave that for a few days a week, and then we'll give it another clean and try it again. It's also a possibility that condenser was having an issue to begin with, and sometimes, when you up the fuel air thing, if it's low on spark, it hasn't got enough to ignite it, so that could well be part of the problem why the red motor carby wouldn't work in the first place. Anyway, getting to the point of the video. Okay, this left wheel scrapes on the guard, and only when I got a passenger, doesn't do it when I'm by myself. And I was just checked, I measured, I fixed a point just above the shocky, and I got a 10 mil difference between this side and the other side. This guard's in 10 mil closer than the other. So I'm going to try, let's get some blocks of wood or something. I'm going to try jacking it out. Hopefully, there is a little bit of bog in this guard, so hopefully I'm not going to crack it anyway. And, that would have been the result, because I chopped all the front of this. The original guard came right down here, joined on the front end, so I've chopped all that off and reshaped it, and so possibly in doing that, that's where I've come up with a difference in the width between the two sides. But then I was looking underneath it, and I've just noticed there is actually a camber changer. That's what that square nut is. That's an offset, I would think. I'm pretty certain of it anyway. Might actually look it up online, but I'm pretty sure that nut's to change the camber. That's an offset spline, I think. But yeah, so I might check that as well. Check the camber. I haven't done that with this. I've adjusted the toe in, And it needs another wheel on it now, because when I was out bush I hit a major rock with this wheel and it's mucked up the alignment. So I think I'll check the camber as well when I do a toe-in alignment. And yeah, but anyway, I was just looking. I've been. Might be easier, better if I get on the other side of this. But I was spoken earlier about raising it by lowering the stub axle. Yeah. When you look at all this, some light in position. This light used to just stand up by itself, but it doesn't do it very well now. Okay, I think we've got enough light. Sorry about all the flopping around. Okay, where that speedo cable goes into that hole, that's the centre of your stub axle. And fortunately, it's out from where it attaches to the ball joint. It's totally separate. From your calliper mount, from the mount for your tie rod end. That would actually be really easy to lower that. When I say really easy, you'd take the backing plate off and you'd cut it from the other side. But you can actually cut. Sorry, looking at the job again, not looking where I'm pointing the camera. You could cut this whole section out of it, flip it up the other way, basically weld it back in. The only thing that would really change is, you could bring it sort of straight down. You'd have to have it, you want it back on its at ride height. You'd have to actually measure somewhere on the body, measure the ride height, and then jack it up from here so it's got the weight of the body, so it's all sitting where it rides, and then use a spirit level or something. So you keep your stub axle in the same position. That's actually called your caster. But actually probably wouldn't hurt if it did come back a bit. It'd actually look better because the wheels don't sit in the centre of the wheel arch anyway. They're closer to the front than they are to the rear. So if you did bring it back an inch, it'd actually improve the look of it. I don't know how it'd affect its driving ability, but yeah, as I said, you could basically cut this whole section out. Of course, you'd bevel it right back, you'd make V's on both sides, so there's only like a knife point where they meet, completely fill it in both sides at a high temperature. You'd probably even want to preheat this. Actually, before you'd even start, you'd want to check that this is cast steel, which I don't think it'd be cast iron, and you'd want to check the hardness of it. And my test for welding for hardness of steel is the hacksaw. If I can mark it with the hacksaw, if I can cut it with the hacksaw, it's safe to weld. That's basically the whole of it. But as I said, you do it properly, you V it both sides and you weld it fully from both sides at a high heat, and possibly even preheat the whole thing. Obviously you'd be taking it off, you wouldn't have it attached to your ball joints or anything, you'd remove your caliper. You'd be doing it on the bench anyway, but you preheat the whole thing. And the other thing that helps too after you weld it is, so you get stress points. Your world becomes harder than the steel around it. And so when you're completely finished, you then cook it up and you get your torch out, or you stick it in the fire or something, you get it red hot, pull it out, let it cool naturally, and that takes all the stress out of it and makes it all one hardness again. That would be something I'd be doing to this. Yeah. So I don't know if or when I would actually do it, but I'd like to. But in the meantime, I'm going to get some coilovers. The cheap J-Bugs have got coilovers for $80 a set. Yeah, that's like a set of two. Two for the front. These are different to the rear. These have got pin at the top, and an eye at the bottom. The rear eye top and bottom. So they're different shocks. But yeah, $80 a set plus postage. Yeah, that's cheap. That's a good price. So I'm going to be doing that pretty shortly, and see how we go with that before I make any decision to lower it any further. Because they're just boosters, they don't. These coilovers that you buy, they're just like a bike shop, and they're not going to support the whole weight of the car. They're just a booster. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Because it will lift it a little bit just by making it a bit stronger. So we'll see how much of a difference that makes first, before I go chopping and changing everything. The issue I got at the moment is now that I've raised the back, because you got all that weight of your engine and I've got the cage and everything else hanging out behind the back axle, it's actually lifting the front slightly or taking the weight off it. And what's happening at the moment is the front suspension's become real sloppy. It's not driving very well at all. And it's driving a whole lot worse since I was out bushing at that rock. So correct the steering line, but yeah, it definitely needs to be beefed up a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to get these coilovers in the coming weeks and see how much a difference that makes. And but yeah, I'm seriously considering chopping that. Of course, it's good too that you got this backing plate, because that means you've got a whole complete flat area on the other side of it. And you'd probably cut that bolt hole off, but you've still got two bolt holes. So basically you could put a heavy plate on the other side of it, bolt it on or clamp it on, and then when you refit this, you can clamp it up to that plate and get it back, get your camber and everything where it should be. And yeah, that sort of makes it easy, having that flat surface on the other side. And yeah, but it's totally doable. And by doing that too, doing it that way, you still retain your hole for your cable, and all that's going to be exactly the same. It's just going to be, like, it's just going to be down here instead of up here. That's all they're going to do, see? It's only thinking of like a 2-inch lift, so yeah. It really would be quite simple. And of course, if you're at all concerned about it, you weld another whole 10mm plate on the back of it, strengthen it, and it'll be, stronger than it was original. But, at the same time, you get away with it down here in Tasmania and in Queensland. Of course, as long as you keep it registered, you don't have to get inspections. But yeah, it could be a different story in other states. They mightn't. Although if you did it and made it look original and you didn't take it to an actual Volkswagen place, they probably wouldn't even notice. But yeah, if they did, they'd be wanting an engineer's certificate on that. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind if you're considering it. But, yeah, easy enough done if you got a little bit of welding know-how, and yeah. Anyway, so we're out now. I'm gonna get me, just got my A-frame jack standard. There's a Toyota jack that I carry around. This is now the bug jack. I'm gonna find some bits of wood and I'm gonna jack this guard out 10mm so it matches the other side, and that's probably gonna be enough to stop the tyre scraping it. Probably wouldn't do it if it had standard wheels, but you know, these mag wheels have got a slightly different offset to the standard wheels. They're a little bit wider. Not so much the wheel itself. Well, the wheel itself is a bit wider. It's probably an inch wider, but yeah, they stick out an inch further than your standard wheels. But yeah, having looked under that, I'm going to go do a bit of research now, because I think that big nut's a camber adjustment. So I'll be checking that as well. I'll jack the guard out. Then I'll see if I can reset the camber, and I'll check all the camber when I do a towing alignment. Anyway, that's where we're up to. Yeah, got my fire going again. Still winter here. It's night, which is when I do most of my work and things. So yeah, okay. Thanks for watching. Listen to my ramble. Bye.